Gentleman yields. I now recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Correa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I kind of agree with Mr. Godinez and some of the comments he made. Before I get into my presentation, I'd like to present a article submitted for the record titled 2023 Year in Review, Secretary Mayorkas champions department-wide efforts to save lives and prepare for the 21st century security challenges.
Without objection, so moved.
And I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. I'm glad you're here talking about those things that are important. You spoke passionately about fentanyl, the damage that's caused to our communities. I'm with you on that one. Back home on Main Street, a lot of deaths, a lot of pain because of fentanyl. My investigation of this issue, 90% of fentanyl, more like 95%, comes through our ports of entry. And 65% comes through one port of entry, the San Ysidro port of entry. And most of that, the majority, vast majority, is smuggled by American citizens and green card holders. That's why I support additional funding for our ports of entry. Technology, more personnel, more drug-sniffing dogs, more technology. And Mr. Chair, again, I want to thank you for holding this hearing, because Homeland Security is an important issue for all Americans, for this nation. So let's look at the facts here today. Let's be clear about what we're looking at today on a worldwide basis. Some of the nations that are dealing with this, what I would call worldwide refugee challenge, the United States, Europe, Germany, Italy, Greece, Colombia. Colombia's holding 3 million Venezuelan refugees right now. Costa Rica, Mexico. These are among some of the nations looking at this refugee challenge. Let's look at some of the causes of this migratory pattern. COVID-19. And Secretary Mayorkas did not bring up COVID-19. Secretary Mayorkas is also not responsible for the robberies, gang violence, extortions in Central America. And Secretary Mayorkas is also not responsible for the government collapse and violence in Haiti. He's also not responsible for the challenges, the economic collapse in Venezuela. Secretary Mayorkas is also not responsible for the human rights violations, economic collapse in Cuba. He's also not responsible for the economic collapse, human rights violations in Nicaragua, Peru, Ecuador, the invasion of Russia, of Ukraine, the economic collapse going on in China today. Secretary Mayorkas is not responsible for these things. To the contrary, he's working to manage the challenge and provide frontline officers with the resources that they need. Even Senate Republicans get it. Senate Republicans are working with Democrats right now and the White House to try to address these challenges. So in the last minute and a half that I have, I'm going to ask Professor Bowman, is Secretary Mayorkas executing the law to full extent of his abilities with the limited resources Congress has given him? Is this an impeachable offense, sir?
No, sir, it is not. And I should point out also, in addition, it's critical to note that if we could impeach cabinet officers, or presidents for that matter, anytime there are legal disputes about the application of the law or their exercise of discretion, then every president and every cabinet officer would be impeachable. In the previous administration, that of Mr. Trump, there were repeated lawsuits against Mr. Trump's immigration policy, some of which he won, some of which he lost. If the mere presence of heated legal disagreements about the legitimacy of presidential immigration policy were impeachable, Mr. Trump would have been impeached for a third time. To do such a thing would be profoundly anti-constitutional and profound disruption of the constitutional separation of powers.
So, sir, are we looking essentially at political public policy debate here as opposed to an impeachable offense?
That's certainly my interpretation, Congressman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
I yield.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent motion here.